Hello, all. Welcome to Terry TV. If you don't recognize the person sitting before you, yes, I have been away for a while. I needed some much needed R&R, and I will absolutely suggest to you that when things start getting a little bit, that you walk a bit, step away a little bit from social media or any job that you have, and this is part of my work, social media, that you take that time to rest and relax. How are you? Terry Harden here, Walt Disney's legendary Imagineer and pop icon. Um, hey, I didn't give myself that name. I just embraced it. But hi, how are you? I did take some time off. I actually went to teach some classes and to talk to high school and college students in Mississippi. Yes, I did. It was very, very exciting to do, to be a part of the classes that I taught there, pumpkin classes, to get to know the greatest authentic haunted house in the United States, McRaven in Mississippi, and Vicksburg, Mississippi. It was also very exciting to experience a lot of the history. I am born and raised in California, and so we are a very young state. Anyone who's lived along the West Coast knows that we're young states. We're babies. We're little babies. And being little baby states, we don't really know how deep in history goes unless we go over to the East Coast and walk around for a while. And I remember being just fascinated that Boston had a zip code that began with a 0. I was like, whoa, your zip code begins with a 0. I was also blown away when I went to see Plymouth Rock on the East Coast. I was looking out to the ocean and it was down and looked like a stepping stone. That's it. That's it. Really? That's it. How did the pilgrims see that? So you're fascinated about a lot of the things that you discover once you go to the East Coast. And Vicksburg is amazing. Many people ask me if I'd seen Gettysburg. Not yet. But Vicksburg was a huge battleground. And we were taken to the Memorial Park where the North fought the South. And I stood on the actual turf that the North and the South fought. And that's pretty heavy. Being of mixed races and knowing what the outcome of that did for my family and for many people of color, this was really a little more emotional than I expected it to be. I could actually see where the South, the Confederates, were higher ground, and the North, the Union, were lower ground and were being picked off and killed because they were below. But the one thing the Union did that the Confederates did not do is the Confederates kind of scattered their cannons everywhere. And back in those days, it was a lot like, if you haven't seen Good, the Bad, the Ugly, there's a sequence where Blondie loads the cannon with a cannonball, and it takes time. You know, it's put the ball in the cannon and then tamp it, boom, 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 and then come around and light it, and then boom, and then rinse and repeat. Same with their muskets, right? It wasn't like pew, pew, pew. It was and any of you that do reenactments understand that it was a war that was kind of fought in stages and steps, you know. And the Union soldiers found out that if they lined up their cannons and they pointed them in a certain direction, that when one cannon went off, they could shoot 5 because they had 5 ready to load. So very interesting on the strategies that happened and the strategies that they did. They didn't necessarily use all cannons to respond to the one cannon, but they might use 2. And that cannon would be bye-bye. So it's very interesting to get into the thoughts and philosophies of the Union soldiers while standing on soil that the Union soldiers fought, as well as the Confederate soldiers. Just really amazing being on those grounds. We also learned that there was a cemetery in the area of that park that was all Union soldiers because it was believed that Confederate soldiers were traitors. So they could not be buried there in Mississippi. So Mississippi, not wanting their soldiers, Confederate soldiers, to be just anywhere, they built a special cemetery for Confederate soldiers to be buried. So all of this is very, very fascinating and interesting. And it's just really amazing. Also, to understand and learn about the Mississippi River and what the Mississippi River really is all about. It is a very, very muddy, full of sediment type of river. Mississippi mud, uh, what is the song? It's great to sink your feet in the Mississippi mud, because it's gushy and it's sort of silt like. I didn't do it, but I remember the song. And the reason I'm pointing this out to you guys today and talking about it a little bit, because I did teach pumpkin sculpting there and had a new wave of students, and my husband is cutting that footage now, so you guys will get to see it after my patrons. And while I'm talking about my patrons, let's talk about Terri's Tribe just a little bit. You knew I was going to segue into that. If you want to see more behind the scenes, if you want to get the stuff first, you're just one of those people that likes to see that stuff, feel free to pop on over to patreon.com/Terri Hardin. You can monitor it for a little bit, watch the public stuff that I post. But then to join it, it's $5 a month at the base tier, and then it goes up from there. But join at $5 and see if you like it. And if you like it, stay. And if you don't, there's no harm, no foul. But you got to have skin in the game for me to share some of the things that I share, because I'm giving you my time, which is very valuable. And this helps me to take care of the YouTube channel, which is free. So it just helps, and it's $5 a month. I mean, if you put a quarter jar by your door, you'd have the payment every single month. So think about it. Think about coming over. They're like-minded people. Your voice needs to be heard. It's a great community of positive energy, upbeat. We talk about how to make a living doing what you love, art or whatever it is. We talk about solutions. Many people are curious about some of the things they want to do. Maybe they want to do a podcast. Maybe they want to write a book. Maybe they want to talk to me about Lego, which has been fascinating. We have several people and the Lego things, but it's not just me giving you advice. It's not just me prattling on, like sort of here. It's like everyone participates. We always have a weekly Zoom call. However, you saw I was a little dark here too. Did not do a lot of broadcasting. It was the same on my Patreon page, but they understood, because after the death of my dad, there's been a lot of work I have to do. I'm the administrator of his estate, and there's some things that I have trouble dealing with, things that kind of make me go, ugh, and things that I'm good with. And then there's the grief that actually I'm probably a little bit out of because I'm so busy. So it was advised that I take a break. And so when Mississippi came along, that became my break. And I didn't really broadcast from Mississippi because I relaxed, and I relaxed with my friends, Kendra and Steven, and we would have a nice little drink, and we would watch the sunset from their second story in their, what I think is a plantation home. All the homes there are named. So this is the Belle of the Bends, and it's beautiful, and it's 3 stories, and it's amazing. And yeah, just some of the things that just blew me away about that historical stuff there, and how much historical stuff they have there, and how much they're into it, and how Southern they are. So I went to this group called the Antique Club, and the Antique Club, the ladies have a slogan. It's not because we love antiques, it's because we are antiques. They're very cute. What can I say? Anyway, on Patreon, we dig deeper into this. So consider going over there and joining for just $5 a month and being a part of all of us. We would love it. So I love to have you. Love to have you. And we do a Zoom call. We work to do a Zoom call every Friday. And here on YouTube, broadcasting publicly on YouTube and Facebook, that we do a Flashback Friday. And so that's what I'm starting to do is that I broadcast live on Mondays. That's today. And then on Fridays, I do a Flashback Friday that allows me to have my Zoom call with the tribe on Fridays. So just loosens up my week a little bit so I can get some of my work done. I was a little behind as an artist because I was taking care of my dad all the way up until the day he passed. And it's just been very, very important to get back into art. I got to tell you, sculpting a pumpkin was fantastic and very, very nice to be able to sit down and get covered in guts. And then I mentioned on Friday that I was at the Irvine Park Railroad doing a demo. That's in Irvine. Actually, it says it's in Orange, but I bet you it straddles both. But it was really exciting and really fun. And I can show you, let me just put my tea down. And Bob Burdine, you'll notice that Bernard and I are tea drinkers, except for I don't have the mindset tea. Yeah, I already have a good mindset, so I don't worry too much about that. But anyway, I will show you my pumpkin that I did out there for you to see. There him is. He's kind of a dancing skeleton, kind of jiving along. I actually sculpted this one at Irvine Park from above. So because I wanted it facing the audience, and I carved it from holding the back of the pumpkin into my chest on my apron, and then I carved from above. Really a weird thing to do. I eventually would turn it and make sure my map was right. But I mean, it's a weird way to carve. You want to look at what you're carving most of the time. But I wanted people to see it and explain to them the process in my classes. And unfortunately, when I explained the process in my classes, I had to also tell people they're all sold out. This is because of Outrageous Pumpkins. Outrageous Pumpkins was huge this year. Did you watch it? Did you like who won? Did you like the show? What did you think? Yes, I know I was wearing lipstick. Very strange for me. But the producers like to have me wear lipstick because they want to be sure they see my face. That's their story and they're sticking to it. So we just roll with it because I can, the time I shoot the show, I wear lipstick, and then I cannot wear lipstick the rest of the year because it's my life, right? So I always comply with that because I know they're only having my best interest. But you have to also understand that I now have an official makeup artist. And so she did my makeup for this show, and it's her palette. People's faces are her palette. So she enjoys, doing what is necessary. And I just am like, okay, go for it, Olive. Doesn't impair my talking. It just is very unusual because I don't wear any makeup. It's just my thing that I don't. But then you're up to you're up to your hips in pumpkin guts, or I'm slapping lath and plaster, or I'm knee high in clay. So why? I just like natural. And that's why I like having gray hair. Yeah, I was kind of hoping for more gray hair, but you don't tell God what to do, right? Just don't do it. So it's great. Right? Right. Okay, so let's see what we got going on here from you guys. Good morning. Hello. Yes, I'm glad to see you too. Great deal. Good morning. I watched Cat Sitting. So cable LOL. Yes, Carla, isn't that great? And I found out it was on Max. And we got Max for something that we did, like a couple of weekends, a couple of months of Max or whatever for free. And I was so happy to see it on Max. I think it got to more people. Ratings were through the roof this year. You guys really liked seeing some of the sculptures that everybody did. Many told me they love the people on this one. We're talking about Outrageous Pumpkins right now, of which I play a judge, just in case you didn't know. And it's fabulous. It just was a great show. Yeah. So thank you. I'm glad. And Leanne says, let's go Oilers. Let's go. So Leanne obviously is an Oilers fan. So I'll say I have I'm not a sports person. So how do any of you agree? Anybody agree with this? Anyone agree? One cute pumpkin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I haven't watched this year's season. Yeah, the season is cool. I won't spoil it for you. I won't discuss anything for you because you can still stream it. And if you have Max Plus, is it Max? Just Max now, right? It was HBO, then it was HBO Max, then it was Max Plus, and now I think it's just Max. They even dropped the plus. It's also on the Food Network, guys, and it will be replaying. I think it will replay Halloween weekend. So you got the chance to see it there on the Food Network, on the Discovery Channel. You can see it there. But just like if you have a Roku or an Amazon stick, a streaming stick of any kind, just plug it Outrageous Pumpkins in your search, and it will tell you which channels you can see it on. Okay. It's great. 5 episodes this year. Last year we had 4. Year before we had 4. This one is 5. So how exciting to have an additional episode. I will tell you the ratings were through the roof. People love this because of the kindness that each contestant showed to each other. I've often told you it's about the work. It is. So it's cool. It's exciting. Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And cars love the pirate ship. See? See? So there's a teaser there. Love them pumpkins. By the way, I will be your way in November. Michael, really? Let me know. Love to see you. Let me know when. Let me know when. I need to tape it. Yeah. Absolutely. Or, like I said, just be sure that you search it because they usually repeat it during Halloween, especially this year because so many people loved it that I think it's going to show again. But if you have something like Max or Discovery Channel, you can see all 4 seasons. So this was season 4, so you can see all 4 seasons. You can stream them all if you want to, which is what I decided to do not too long ago. In fact, before I finished watching the season finale, I watched the first one because you'll see how they evolved. They are different, and it's fun to see how different they are. And I'm happy to say that that there was the first farm, and then there was the second farm that we shoot on, and the second one is much nicer. Not so cold. It's okay if you're a judge and it's cold, but it's quite a different thing if you're a contestant and it's cold because the pumpkin guts will freeze and your hands will freeze and just it's not a fun experience. So I always admire contestants who work through all of that, it's just, yeah, it's a tough thing. It's a really tough thing. Food Network. Yes, Food Network. And I watch for your makeup since you had to endure cosmetics. It's just, how they say that, you can disappear on camera because camera flattens. So that gives my face dimension. And I totally get it. I totally get it. I just think that Damaris rocks makeup better than I do. Because she, didn't she? If you haven't seen it, Damaris is our new host, and she is amazing. She just is so great at the different, at morphing into all the different things that she morphs into. I'm not even going to, you got to watch this show because it's really is special. She does a great job. And then you get to meet, of course, the amazing Ralph from Cake Boss, even though Ralph, you will recognize him from Cake Boss, but he really loves being on the Pumpkin Show, and I love having him as a co-judge. So a lot of cool things that you can see. So don't miss it if you haven't seen it yet. 5 episodes this year. Yes, exactly. And at this demo that I did on Saturday, people were coming up to introduce themselves to me and to talk to me about the show and how excited they were. They were ready for Sunday night, and this was Saturday. They went on and on about how excited they were. And many, let me just show you one other thing. Let me get out of my pumpkin world. Go into my library and show you It's going to take me a little bit here to find it. You got to find it. You got to find it. There it is. I have got I thought I had a big shot of it. Maybe not. I probably do, but trying to find it in all of this may not be the easiest way to do it. I'm still going to look a little bit more. There it is. I know I had it. I have a new book coming out, and this is it. I am not the author. I am the illustrator of the second book in the Giggling Pumpkin series. So the first book, which was blue, which was Giggling Pumpkins. This is Whispering Corn. And it is a farm fairy tale. And the author is my friend Lynette, and I do the line art, the art illustrations. So and she paints them. So if you haven't seen this, you can go to terrihardin.com, click on online store, and see it and buy it. It is available to you now. I hope you do. It's a fun little children's book. The nice thing about Irvine Park Railroad is they're so book-centric. This is the number one thing I sell when I'm out there. When I put my 2 books up, those are what people buy more than the pumpkin tools, more than the DVD, more than wanting to know about a class. Well, they want to know about the class, but the class was sold out, so they really couldn't talk about that. But they really, really love to get books for their children. And so that's what's really special about going out there. And this was no different. I sold a few books at that event, which is kind of unusual because, you're sculpting pumpkins, and I've got my alumni there sculpting pumpkins, and I've got, let me show you my alumni. This is Doug. Doug sculpts. He always, whoops, don't get rid of Doug. Just zoom in. There we go. Doug always does a peacock. Does a themed pumpkin that's themed to the place where we're at, is what I'm trying to say, but not saying it very well. And he themed this because Irvine Park is known for all the peacocks that wander around and make noise. And he did it amongst pumpkins because, of course, where we are is in the pumpkin patch part of Irvine Park Railroad. We will be there next year, so be sure to come out and see us. And then there's Sabrina. Oops, that's not Sabrina. Sabrina did this cat. So here's the cat. And if I show you another picture of it, you can see that she also painted it with beautiful green eyes. And her cat is standing next to the cat. So there's her kitty. And then here is her cat pumpkin. So pretty awesome. And I thought I had a picture of her with her pumpkin, but I'm going to have to talk to, I thought this one was a cute one because this is the cat giving his review of the cat on the pumpkin. But they come out and demo with me. They are my alumni students. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Outrageous Pumpkin Season 4, 5 episodes, 1 more than last year. Exactly. Hello, Joe. How are ya? Sorry I didn't see Outrageous Pumpkins. Usually something else on, but honestly, it's not really my cup of tea. Sorry. Hey, don't apologize. If you don't like people carving pumpkins and competing, that is up to you, Joe. You are your own boss. You know that. But some of these pumpkins are absolutely incredible. And I've been a judge on it since 2005. It has gone through a lot of evolution, but it is a fun, it's a very fun, why is that in there? Okay, I see what I did. Okay. I was like, this does not look right. Something is wrong with this picture. I just was in the wrong album. Let's get in the right album so that you can see some of the things I do that may or may not be your cup of tea. Like this one, for example. This is one that I did with a butternut squash. I honestly love doing weird pumpkins as well as cool pumpkins. So that's that guy. And then if we proceed to another, then I also, the biggest pumpkin I've ever carved, someone was asking me this, is 650 pounds. This is what that one looks like. So, wait, there we go. So this is a 650 pounder. It's a giant skeleton with a dragon sweeping around it. This one was meant not to be lit, but it took probably 4 to 6 hours to do. I can't remember how long it took, but it took a long time because it was a big pumpkin. So there you go. I can show you some others really quickly, but nothing says that you've got to carve it other than once I show you the techniques and the process, you do whatever you want. And that's one of the things that's so nice about this class is all the different ways that they can be sculpted, created, and done. One I did for Desperate Housewives, and then my True Blood. So I do a lot for TV, not recently, of course, but we've been on strike, and so I haven't had anything for the pumpkin, but that kind of thing. Can't really see this one very well, but this is Johnny Depp, and it's a Sweeney Todd cutting the throat of Mrs. Lovitz. So, not everything is sweet and cute in my world. But it gives you an idea that I do some very, very elaborate pumpkins. And then I do things that are a little off and weird, like this one. This is Gary. And I like to show Gary because Gary has radish eyes. So you may have, if you watch it, and I know Joe doesn't watch it, but for those of you who watch it, you'll remember that they do a lot of various vegetables and stuff. So for me, I did Gary, and I wanted the whole pumpkin to be that pure orange, but then that soft orange, but then I made his eyes bug out. And what's cool is if you look at the side view, you automatically have veins by just leaving some of the radish's skin. And you can do some great stuff. And if you really want to creep people out, you can pull one of the eyes out, and it's got the little tail, like you're pulling out the vein or the whatever it is, capillary, whatever it is. So anyway, so there you go. There's some pumpkins to get you in the festive mood, a la Outrageous Pumpkins, even if it's not your thing, Joe. Wow, the detail in 65 pumpkin is wow. Yeah, it's because of the depth. The bigger, if you get these Atlantic giants, the walls can be here to here, depending on the type of Atlantic giant. You saw, if you watch the show, those are 2,000 pounders. Mine was 650. So you can kind of see my wall was probably in here, which is still plenty because most pumpkins, right? So once you are aware of wall space, that's why I'm going wah, wah, wah. It's not sideways puppetry. But once you get that and you know how to do it and you understand the process, you can sculpt any size pumpkin. Really nice arm on the right. Right this way, pumpkin. I had a friend who told me she's got to do a contest, and I showed her my pumpkins I did last year. One of my pumpkins in that set was called You Scared Him to Death. And this is him right here. Let me enlarge Mr. You Scared Him to Death. So here he is right here. Oh my goodness, you scared him to death. A fraidy cat monster. So this one is a combination of a jack-o'-lantern, like is seen on the show. I'm always barking about punch through. So here's an example of punch throughs as well as sculpting. And then on the side, I did an arm out of a butternut squash. So that's why that arm is like, I'm scared of you. So there's an example. And then next to it is a portrait of my dog done in that scraping technique that many of you have seen master sculptors do. It was my first time doing that technique, but really, when I first saw it, I didn't think it turned out very well. And then I said, wow, it really turned out well. So I'll have students that don't think their work is very good, and they'll say, oh my goodness, it didn't turn out well. And I'll say, sure it did. Let's put a light in it. It says, for me, I have you put a light in your work. Let me see if I can find here it is. So when I first did this, those of you who do watch Outrageous Pumpkins, one of the judges from early season was Mark. And Mark has a Instagram called Mark Maniac, and he's a maniac. His team is a maniac. They do this kind of what do they call etch technique? That's the word I was looking for. Etching technique on pumpkins, and he just does it like crazy. Him and his team, super fast, super accurate. Marvel characters, Star Wars characters, rock stars, presidents. They can do anything on a pumpkin. Your family, anything. And they're really, really popular in September and October and into November. They are very, very popular. He's a very, very busy fellow, which is one of the reasons we had to shift, because he is just really busy and does really good. But he walked me through the process. I had never sculpted that way before. And here I had this little guy. And you can see that when I first did it, I thought it was ugly. I told Mark, I said, I don't think I did this very well, Mark. This doesn't look very good to me. This looks like I might have messed up. And he was like, well, let's put a light in it, which is what I say when I'm working with my students. So I thought it was very interesting that I actually went through many of what you have done. And look how cute it is. So that's the key, is to look at them like this. That particular etching technique is meant to have a light in it to make it really look beautiful. So wow. I want to do more of it. I haven't done a lot of, well, I did do some others. So I didn't just sit on that one, but I did do some others. And like this one, I'll even show you the quick viewing of it. It's on silent, but this is the Kung Fu Panda, and it's an etching technique. And see, there's Tigress. So, seriously, he was right. He was right. Just enjoy and carve and have fun. And wow, if jack-o'-lanterns are your thing, there's nothing wrong with doing a jack-o'-lantern, because I am saying that in this Outrageous Pumpkins, which many of you watch, jack-o'-lanterns have to be done. Let me see if I can find one for you, because I'm always barking about jack-o'-lanterns, aren't I? If you watch the show, I'm going jack-o'-lantern, jack-o'-lantern, jack-o'-lantern. Because in the beginning, you don't want to show all your tools in your toolbox if you're contestant on the show, do you? Well, some of you do anyway. Some they do it. They do their sculptures and they show their techniques early, and you kind of go, that's really lovely, but that's not a jack-o'-lantern. And I'm not seeing my jack-o'-lantern. I'll have to dig him up later and show him to you at some point. But I do them, and they're punch throughs. And then if I do like all the way down and the light's in there and you can see it, I use a little bit of parchment to then do it. But it's not like you see the square of the parchment. It's just there to block the light. Because I personally don't like to see the element inside of which is lit. So parchment really works. It softens the light inside and helps that jack-o'-lantern look really cool. But you can see those punch throughs. So my thing. So I know I digressed on something. But there you go. So there you go. Leanne says she likes the radish. Yes, there's all kinds of, there's all, if you are able to watch all 4 shows, they all use the vegetables. And I kind of got over I'm not really wanting to add vegetables to my pumpkin. And then I realized that they're very smart and it's very cool when done in a cool way, which they all do. It's nice. You learn from your contestants. That's what's the nice thing about being a teacher. You learn from your students and you learn from your contestants. Sometimes you go, whoa, I never thought to do that. Like I never use power tools. And yet many of my students are like, I wanted to try the power tools after watching Outrageous Pumpkins. So cool for them. Yeah. So a giant pumpkin's wall could be thicker than a tree. In some cases, absolutely, Leanne. Like this. And when you watch the show and the finale, you'll see them pull just massive chunks out of the pumpkin. And it's got weight because they're like a 2,000-pound pumpkin often. They win awards for being the biggest, then the heaviest. So these farmers are really into growing these guys. Thank goodness, because they are really lovely to see. If you've never seen an Atlantic giant before in person, it's pretty amazing. Yeah. I'm always excited when I shoot the show to get close and personal with an Atlantic giant, because they're just just so cool. I was looking to see if I could find me with one. This might be too old. Oh no, here I am, right here, enjoying my giant dining room table. Atlantic Giant. They are big, guys. They are super, super, super big. So love them, love them, love them. Leon says, besides techniques, it seems to be really down on how well they follow the requirements and themes given. Oh, yeah, I'm really about that. You have to listen. Because one thing about this show that makes it very special to me, Outrageous Pumpkins, is about the work, not about the banter. Even though this season, many people complimented all the contestants on how wonderful they were with each other. They were supportive of each other. They liked each other. They were wonderful spirits. Every spirit was a positive pleasure to be around. We really enjoyed being around such wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. So it's a special show across the board this year. And I encourage you to see it, even if you don't like it, Joe. I watch Outrageous Pumpkins repeatedly. Addicted. Yeah. I just, I saw Halloween Wars, and Halloween Wars is a cool show too, but the pumpkin carvers always get the short end of the stick. They don't get to carve the cool stuff. They carve a pot and put rings on the side, or they cauldrons, they get to carve a cauldron, or they get to carve a skirt. And they don't really get to show off their talent. So it was really nice to be a part of a show that finally allowed them to show what they're made of. And it's all about pumpkins, nothing else. So it's really, really a very special show. And it's about the work. I am adamant as a judge that the work is what's judged, not the people. So in Halloween Wars, there's that. I don't like that. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to judge on, I wanted to judge on your work. So that's been so wonderful, the creators and the producers of Outrageous Pumpkins, allowing it to be about the work and understanding how important this is. And that's what brings people to watch it, is to watch people make magic out of something that maybe your whole knowledge of it is triangle eyes and toothy grins, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, hey, want to try something new, want to try something a little different, a little more fun, and if you don't, that's cool, but if you do, it's really fun. And it was great to introduce this to Mississippi this year, because they were, oh my gosh. And that's what's really I'm addicted to, is a person who doesn't think they can do it. Then they do it. And then we put a light in it and they go, oh, I love that. Every single time someone gets emotional about, I can't do it. I'm not an artist. I can't draw a straight line. I mean, these are the wrong voices you guys have been ingesting if you think you're not an artist. And it's great to have a pumpkin, because it has that roots in your childhood, and you will break that barrier. You will carve that pumpkin. Maybe it's because it has a root in your childhood. Maybe it's because it's going to rot. So you put it in the garden and it starts to look really cool as it rots, no matter what you carve, good or bad. But I'll tell you, when you put a light inside, everything looks cool. Everything looks cool. So, and many of my students will put a light inside and carve to the light. So then they can see what colors they're going to get from the colors and the lights in a pumpkin. So it's really a neat technique. And I do it on a level that everyone can do to start. But who knows? Maybe we'll see you on an episode. I mean, on a season of Outrageous Pumpkins, if you carve them and you fall in love with it and you just practice. A practice hack would be that in November, you go to the pumpkin patches and you can get them for pennies on a dollar, because a lot of pumpkins and pumpkin patches become pig food. Pigs love pumpkins. Animals love pumpkins. There's so many animals that love the taste of pumpkins. So that's a way for you to practice. You can get some tools. They're ribbon sculpting tools. I also sell the tools online. But you don't have to buy the tool set that I have. It's just a little easier, a little simpler, because they're all there in the packet with my logo on the front and the top, a couple of examples of what to carve. And then you're set. And you can carve in November, practice, because, and that's how I started. I went in November to a pumpkin patch and said, I'm a carver, beginning carver, and I'd like to practice on some pumpkins. And they said, take as many as you want. They didn't even charge me. Nowadays, they might charge me, but $1, $5, depending on where you go. So think about it. Think about it if it's something you want to try. Question, the contestants are not working so fast. It could be dangerous, are they? I always worry they will saw off their fingers or something. Leanne, it's a great question. But no, we have not had in all the seasons. I got to knock on wood though, because you don't want to tease God. But one time in the first season, animals and insects love pumpkins. And bees love pumpkins, and flies love pumpkins. And 1 year, the winner, season 1's winner, Danny, got stung in his ear by a bee. He didn't worry about bees, so he kept on carving, and I guess he agitated one of the bees, and they stung him in the ear. So he was like, oh, man, so he had to take a minute to get something to keep that sting effect from driving him crazy, because it was in his ear. But that is the worst thing we've had. Again, knocking on wood to be safe. Yes, absolutely. But it's a good question. Very good question. I can't afford cable TV, so I don't get to see it. Well, depends on what you got. Okay. And if you've got Friends or TV, some TV, antenna TV, has Food Network on it. So don't be surprised. Yeah, that's what I'm learning from people. Well, my neighbor 2 doors down, he has 101 channels and he has an antenna. That's it. And Food Network's on it. Yeah. So if you get an antenna, that's the old fashioned way, is putting that in. You remember the rabbit ears? Well, you may or may not, where, Dad was trying to get the channel in. I'm 66, so I remember this very vividly. But if you don't, then there are many antennas that you can get that could just bring in the channels from the airwaves. So yeah, so you might want to try it that way. Linda, don't give up yet. I'm hoping that at some point they will. I'm hoping at some point they'll release DVDs of it, because, or some way to see them over and over again. I know that a lot of people nowadays are not, DVDs are kind of going by the wayside, but DVDs should make a comeback, because that's you saying when you want to watch a movie, not the streaming channels. So a lot of people were saying that they were kind of sad because Disney Plus stopped a lot of things that they loved. But if you have the DVD, you just pop that puppy in one of your players and you watch it as much as you want. You can put it on, you can put it on loop and watch The Godfather till the end of time, if that's your favorite movie. One of my favorites, which is why I used it. Or Star Wars, that's why DVDs are so cool. So I hope they don't disappear, because you're able to do your own playlist, aren't you? You're able to say, hey, I want my Halloween playlist. So I've got Halloween, Halloween 2, The Fog, any Hammer film, especially the ones and the American International films with Vincent Price. There's some great, 13 Ghosts, Village of the Damned. I like black and white scary too, but you can choose what you want when you want it. So DVDs are cool. So I always hope that DVDs still keep coming out, but many people tell me yes or no. Hi, Tim Gillette. Sorry I missed you on Wednesday, but thank you for letting me know there wasn't a call. Tim is in charge of my mastermind and helps me to do better broadcasting. Yeah. The interesting thing about you broadcasting like this is that you just got to start. And if you go to my very, very first video, I was sideways, and Tim, actually, I was like this. And I was asking you if I was even on camera. And Tim helped me to realize how to orient my video so that I wasn't sideways on my video when I posted it. Simple stuff like that, because, you don't know what you don't know, right? But I've been doing it for a long time now, and it's always evolving. And if it's something you think you'd like to do, please do it, and then reach out to me and let me know that you're doing it. But go to simpleeasymarketing.com. That's Tim's site. And also, if you get concerned and you can't remember that big long list right there, then just Google Tim Gillette, which I've left up that with the Hello Terry, and you can search his name and find all the cool stuff that he does to teach. But it's really worth it. It's really worth it. He has managed to get us unstuck. People who don't want to be on video that are suddenly on video. People who don't think they have anything to say who suddenly have something to say and they're on camera. That would not be me. I always have something to say. My husband says the best thing you do is talk. And you've seen it today, right? So, and storytell. Yeah, that's me. So many of you listen to it like a podcast, and I love you for that. But honestly, yeah, that is what I do. Many people are advising me now to do some more pre-recorded stuff, which I'm working on. And now as the dust clears a little bit and I'm able to get back in my studio a little bit, I think you're going to see more content. But it is a evolving thing. It does not happen overnight. Understand that I'm 66 years old, which is not an excuse. It's just that it takes me longer because I'm used to speaking to people face to face. This is not my stomping grounds. This is something I need to learn something new every single day, and it's ever changing. So I sit and I say, how can we make it simpler so that I can spend my time under hot light sculpting? That's what's my favorite thing to do. That's what's special for me to do. And that's the deal. So yeah. There you have it, guys. But that's the whole thing. So sometimes when you can't understand things that you're listening to, and for me that is a challenge, I need to be shown. I don't really understand like the reading part of it. Sorry, there was something in my ear. Maybe it was the bee story that got me. But so Tim is one that shows you. Tim Gillette will work with each and every individual person in the mastermind groups. Have you ever done a mastermind group? They're really cool, where you get that special attention in that special area that works for you. And you become friends and colleagues as well, like the Zoom calls that I have on my Patreon page. We don't just talk business and that. We're actually a family. We're actually a group of people that are like-minded, and we talk about all kinds of things, because sometimes you come to the table and you're feeling kind of melancholy. Like, for example, I just lost my dad. So it's not, business. It's because everything needs repair. Sometimes everything needs repair. Sometimes it's the heart that needs a little extra TLC. Sometimes it's the head that needs a little more TLC. And sometimes you need to get down to business. Let's get down to business. So it's not all of it straight like this. It's about, if you are going to be the host of a mastermind, you have to read the room. If you're going to be speaking to people, you have to read the room and kind of get an idea of what's out there and how they're feeling. This is just good public speaking, whether it's online like we're doing today, or whether it's in person, which I do a lot from the stage. A lot. Like I said, I just got back from speaking on the stage. And in my classes, which is also a stage while you work. But in every case, it's just getting a feel for that person and what is that person going through and how is that person doing it. Do they want to get down to business? Do they need a little TLC before we get down to business? All of it is important in a mastermind. So this is why I chose the Tim Gillette. Good little Tim Gillette. Mastermind. So that's just a sideline to just, whatever you're trying to learn. Many of you can just learn off YouTube and you're good, right? But I like a little more, a little more. I can learn quite a bit off of a YouTube channel, but sometimes I like a little more structure. So there you go. There you got it. That's where it is. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, thank you, Tim, for popping in. Leanne says, knocks on wood. I have to. Yeah, you asked the question. Yes. Oh yes, I remember the man getting stung. Yeah, that's it. And so a lot when we were out at the patch in Irvine, Railroad Park, Irvine Railroad. There it is. Anyway, there were bees coming and people were nervous. Kids got nervous. People got nervous because it is a bee. But, you know, you don't want to swat at the bee. You just want to be gentle because bees are very important in our lives. And pumpkins wouldn't be around if it wasn't for a bee. So, and probably hummingbirds had a lot to do with it too. But the point is that, you know, they're pollinating and they're making things happen. So you don't want to attack them, but just give them a minute. And a lot of times, once I've got a pumpkin and it's all done, I'll put it off to the side so all the bees can do all their eating and whatever they want on my pumpkin, and that way it leaves my students' pumpkins alone. Yeah, so they just want one. They can just be, you know, bugging. So that's how that works. I have an antenna and I have searched for a network without finding it. Yeah, I know that it's possible, but I can't, you know, just don't give up. That's all I have to say. And if it's still not there, find a friend. Yep. Find a friend and they'll share it with you. Right? Right. My group, Classic Disneyland and Classic Disney Movies, is growing by leaps and bounds. And honestly, I don't know why over 12,000 members now. Well, look at the title, Classic Disney, which I think people are hungry for, and Classic Disney Movies, which people are also hungry for. And if it's not about Joe attacking each other, but having good, strong conversations about these subjects, people like that, where you take a stand, but you don't attack the person with the opinion. You go for the opinion, you know. And I know this on my Patreon page because that's the situation in the deal. Yep. All right, guys. Well, today is Monday and today is crazy. And so I'm going to get off here and go do mom and dad stuff. Mom who is alive, stuff I've got to do. My dad who has passed, stuff I've got to do. So I did want to come in and let you guys say to you guys, don't worry. I took a break. I will periodically do that because I've learned from a lot of people on YouTube who have huge followings, which I have a nice following, but I don't have a huge following by any means. But the cool thing is that with every person comes more obligation. So if you are one of those people who has 1 million followers or 2 million followers or 5 million followers, sometimes that's a little pressure on you as an artist. And for me, I have to honestly say that would be a lot of pressure on me. So I'm very happy with the way my channel is growing, and I will work more and more to get it to grow more and more by giving you guys more content. But I got to do it at the Terry pace, not at other people's pace, because it's my channel. So that's the deal. And I want you, if you started a YouTube channel or you're a YouTube channel person, or you're like Joe who has 1,200 followers, be sure they have the content that kept them coming, but don't jump through hoops like a circus dog just to keep them. Continue to just deliver in the way that you deliver, because I believe that's what brought them in the first place. Be consistent, and that's the way you do it. And I always, on the Patreon page, what they want on my Patreon page, Terry's Tribe, is time with me. So that's what I give. And we also have lots of fun things that we do. We have a treasure chest and all kinds of cool things like that. And I'm bringing that back in November, not October, which is very busy for me. But that's the only advice I can give you is if you want to be one of those killer kick YouTube stars, then go for it and do it. If that's going to be your sole thing, your whole thing, then, and followers is what you want, and you want as many as possible, then you go for it. But understand that with that comes a lot of responsibility. And so you want to be sure you can be consistent with it. You don't want to eat it to eat up your whole life, unless maybe you do want it to eat up your whole life. Either way is cool. Just know what you want, right? So there you go. There's my other piece of advice. Joe says, have a great weekend, everyone, because he is. And congratulations, Joe, on your 1,200 followers. That's awesome. That's awesome. You've crossed over the 1,000 mark, which is something I'd like to do just to see what happens in YouTube. But I haven't watched, but Deanna, it's fun. So please do. Hi, Terry. How are you today? How's your mom doing? Mom is doing great. I mentioned to people today that she's talking about possibly walking out of the convalescent hospital, which is code. I'm beginning to feel like she might cross over. I know that when she does, it'll be her decision. So I just make sure I see her as much as I can, and we talk all kinds of stuff. She's glad Dad's in a good place, making heaven a bed of feathers for her when she crosses over. So it's very interesting to talk to her now that my dad has passed than before, because I think they were both trying to be the one who stayed for the other one. And now that one has crossed over, my mom is like, well, I guess he got to go there first, so I'll follow. And it's very interesting. It's not a scary thing for me. It's the being adult in the room, as far as, Mike, it's being the adult in the room for me. I'm an artist, and I would rather be the kid in the room, to be honest with you. I'd rather be the kid. But I find that someone's got to do this, and someone has to do this who has the integrity and does their due diligence in getting this done. And I promised my parents when they gave me that responsibility that I would do it with them in mind and for them. So I don't take advantage, and I don't tell them what to do. They make it very clear. I'm the daughter. I always ask, is this what I'm understanding you'd like to do? What would you like to do here? How would you like to handle this? Let me get the word out, blah, blah, blah. So, yep, that's kind of the situation. And it's not always easy, but it's a lot of spinning plates. I feel like one of those circus people that has those plates spinning. And, if one crashes, you kind of just sweep it up and do the best you can. And at some point, take a break and take a breath, which is what I just did. So there you go. And I will see you guys next Monday. And this has been wonderful. Thank you for all of your comments and wonderful things to say. And thank you for asking about my mom, Mike. That was very, very sweet of you. We'll see you again next Monday. Guys, enjoy. Maybe we'll talk about what you're going to be for Halloween. Are you going to celebrate Halloween? How is your house decorated? Maybe you could post some pictures and show me during the week and I can talk about it. I would love that. Just a hinty hint, right? Right. Bye for now, Carla. You guys be well. Take care. Do something nice for someone else. It'll make you feel a whole lot better. It will. When you're depressed, doing something kind for someone else, get you. So try it.